Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Neo Arcade. I am Ash, that is Echo, and today we are super excited to review some of the top games on some of the best platforms recommended by Alex Becker. Big fans of Alex Becker's content, Echo. That is correct, right? I'm assuming before we made this video, but have you been a viewer? Do you like his content?
I like his content. I respect his opinion. I like how he comes across not caring what anybody thinks. I think that he's just really a fun creator. I like the shtick that he brings. So, I mean, he's one of the biggest in the space. He's one of the most followed that people really believe in. So, I mean, how do you not if you're into the space?
Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. At first, I'm sure that this probably mirrors a lot of people's experiences. But at first, I'm like, who the hell is this dude? And why should I be listening to him? But the more I watched after my first few videos, this is back years ago, like the 2021 kind of bull market is when I got involved. And that's when he was, releasing Neo Tokyo and kind of, giving a lot of advice, especially in the gaming space. And then I realized, I realized the method to his madness, and I became a massive fan. And he's one of my favorite guys out there to watch. Today, I thought it'd be cool because I listened to all for investment advice, right? I listened to, even though it's for entertainment only, right? I watch all of his videos, try to be on the cutting edge of AI tokens as well as crypto gaming tokens and projects. But we don't really ever hear about the games on his channel. So I thought it'd be really fun to take a look at our choices or some of the top games for each of these coins. So we're going to be looking at AVAX, Immutable X. We're going to look at Beam, Super, Ronin, Gala, and Prime, Echelon Prime, one of my favorites, one of his favorites there in today's video. So where do you want to kick things off with, Becco?
Yeah, I want to start off with Off the Grid. That one's on AVAX. And I mean, it's one of the shooters that is a really cool looking game. It's been in production now for a few years. But the cool thing and what I really look for when I'm looking at a game that's a Web3 game, I don't care about if it's a Web3 game. I care that it's a good game. And I think that Off the Grid is definitely or has potential to be a good game. I'm someone that likes shooters. I always have. I played them on console. I played them on PC, even played them on mobile, and it's a genre that's fun, and it's just something I could always dive back into. I think Off the Grid is definitely a solid one. It's one of the stronger games in the Web3 space at this point in time. What are your thoughts on it? Have you taken a look? Have you played it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, man, I actually played it after one of our first videos, and I'm not much of I feel sacrilegious to say, but I'm not like a massive shooter fan. Since actually we have some that kind of pay homage to like the Halo 2 back, maybe 007, GoldenEye back for us for N64. Like that was my heyday, my prime for shooters. So I haven't really played a lot since, honestly, outside of like the business, right? Doing a lot of PUBG Mobile, COD Mobile for events and stuff that we produce. But yeah, anyway, long story short is played a little bit of it, and it felt to me, an untrained eye, like this is the best thing ever. Like this has got to be the most polished, straight up Web3 game, crypto game that doesn't even feel like a crypto game. And it certainly made splashes, right? One of the most downloaded Steam games of all time, I think, in the first 7 days, I want to say. So just absolute, just tons of hype around this game, and still a very, very vibrant player base to this day.
Yeah, it's a solid one. I think that if any have potential, that's definitely one of them. But I have another shooter for you as well. It's also on AVAX, and this one's unique because I actually played this game years ago on Steam when there was no sign of Web3 elements in it at all. I'm talking about Shatterline. It wasn't sponsored. I just, on my main channel, I said, this game looks awesome. It's some type of like an objective based where you play as a team, you have these cool characters, shooter. Played it, did it on stream, and really enjoyed the gameplay. I thought it was really a lot of fun. Well, now just 6 months ago, this game is now on the Epic Game Store, no longer on Steam because of the Web3 elements, and it's the same game it was, but now it has those Web3 elements to the game. So this is the example from the list today. That's a title that was built as a Web2 game, built up to Web2 standards of what games are typically built, and then the afterthought was, let's turn this into a Web3 thing. Now the question is, did that happen because the game wasn't successful enough in Web 2 and they wanted to come make a splash in Web 3? Or did the development team see the value of Web 3 and how that could improve the game and do it in that way? This is a different type of shooter, which I like. I mean, I love Gears of War, Halo, and Call of Duty. Yeah. So it's very hard to come in with something that's similar and make me love that too. But I do like ones that are just a lot different, and Shadowline's one of those, Ash.
I agree. Like, I just talked a big game about Off the Grid, but this might appeal to me more, right? Like going back to Halo 2, it's got a little bit of that sci-fi vibe to it as well, and it has like a road-like co-op mode as well. So it's really got my attention, man. Like I would love to play co-op with a game like this, maybe with a fam or friends or something like that to check it out. So I really want to check this one out. It looks, man, I mean, just watching the gameplay, it looks as polished as Off the Grid. So really curious to compare the two.
To be honest with you, I could even go as far as saying maybe even more polished than Off
All
the
right.
Grid. Yeah, it's a good one.
So we're starting out with bangers, man, on AVAX.
There's a lot of good ones on this list. And let's actually switch over to IMX, okay? We're going to get off of AVAX, go to IMX, and take a look at Blade of God X. This is more of a MMO style action RPG, which is what my frequent gameplay is now.
Yep.
I'm big into Diablo Immortal and Diablo titles. So this is something that, although it's not a direct Diablo style game, definitely has more of an MMO element to it. The game looks incredible, the graphics are on point and there, and the gameplay is pretty standard what you'd expect from the genre. So for me, this is something that I'd probably dabble in, maybe even play it, try it out on one of my channels that has this type of gameplay on it. Because I'm always looking for, we all are, right? As content creators, we're always looking for, what's next, what's going to take over the space. This is definitely, to me, a cool one in the MMO, ARPG, a little bit of anime element to it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely got that action RPG, a little bit even like a slasher vibe to it, a little bit, when you get into the actual battle sequences. I like the graphics. I love a good dark aesthetic, man, similar to you, right? I wish I could play Diablo. I just don't have the damn time, man. So, but like, I wish I did. But I go way back to like my early Castlevania days. Like that is one of my favorite games of all time. I think we talked about our faves at the very beginning. And to me, even though I love those shooters, to me, this might be top of the list for a game for me that really fits my own, like the genres that I end up playing most often. So this one looks really, really cool. And it's one of the newer ones, frankly, on our list today. So expecting big things here.
Yeah, you know what I love about you, Ash, is that as we go through these lists, you love them more and more.
It's awful because like I feel like every game I'm like, wow, I would really want to play this one, man. But this one really does, like, watch a lot of gameplay on this one in preparation for this video. And this was the one that it looks pretty, the storyline, I mean, a lot of these games don't have any storylines at all, but it seems to have a pretty robust kind of lore system behind it. So I am intrigued, to say the least, on this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely like it also. We're going to stick with IMX, and we're going to go with a game that we spoke of, I believe, in our last video as well, which is Illuvium Overworld. Very similar, yet different at the same time. Graphically, I think this game is absolutely gorgeous. I think that it's potentially the best looking game, just graphics, colors, how it's all put together. It has your open world exploration element to the game, and it also has your turn-based strategy element to the game. And I don't know if that helps or hurts the game. I don't know if Illuvium would be better if it was only turn-based strategy, or if it was only an open world exploration style game. Potentially it would be a better off that way. But the game looks cool. The most gameplay that you're going to get out of this, the most combat that you're going to see, I would say is going to be in that turn-based strategy element, similar to what you experienced when you play Raid.
Love it. I love the auto battlers, bro. I love the auto battle. Like, not to put you on the spot, Echo, but I find Illuvium like daunting because of all, like you said, there's just so much to do, and it feels like the roadmap kind of changes a lot. Now, I'm not a player, so I'm speaking totally ignorantly here. But like, I'm watching their most recent trailer, which I absolutely love, by the way. I forgot the background music because I don't want to play it right now. But like, they have like a really good, one of the best trailers out there, right? They clearly have the funding, they have the team, they have everything, the infrastructure. But it's just like, okay, collectible RPG, auto battler, open world.
Yeah.
It's like you said, to me, I'm not trying to be a hater, but it seems like too much, like, where do I even start with a game like this? I find it daunting to even, so like, do you know this? Is it good? Could I just play the auto battler, the RPG, or do I have to embark in all three games in one? Do you know the answer to that question?
I would be taking an educated guess on the answer to that question. I played a little bit back in the day when we were initially able to play. I think, and the chat or comments, you could let us know, but I think you do have to embark. I know that a lot of how you find your alluvials is going to be in that open world element, but there's also a gacha mechanic as well, where you can open up discs, alluvial discs, to do that. even in the Battle in the Beyond portion of that, which was created by Lizard Labs.
Okay.
So yeah, let me go on a little tangent here.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm going to bring up AMG, which is your company. You are representing me as talent there. You just brought me a deal to cover a game called Dark and Darker Mobile.
Yes.
I played this on stream. I absolutely loved it. And part of the reason, it was a dungeon ARPG escape style game. I loved it because of the simplicity. There was one main tactic in the game, and it was to go fight against PvE, fight against people, and escape. Build up your character throughout the season. Simple, not open world for this. Not
Yep.
So
I'm the same way.
My point
Especially
is,
when you start to dive into a game for the first time, like you just don't want to be overwhelmed, paralysis by analysis. I just want to go in there and be like almost without a tutorial. And frankly, Web3 is very weak in the tutorial space, man.
Yeah.
Like most of these games, they just throw you in. So I like the simplicity early on. So I hear your point.
Yeah, so I'm only bringing that up because we were saying, is Illuvium too much?
Yep.
If me as a consumer, I'd say it probably does have too much going on. But for someone that wants to dive into a game and know life that game, well, there's a lot to know life inside of Illuvium.
Fair enough. And dude, honestly, the last trailer, like I mentioned, it was killer, to be fair. And you know, we don't see this a lot in the space, but the 340 comments on the trailer, and like almost all of them were just over the moon ecstatic about this. So it looks like there's a lot of positive sentiment from the actual community, which matters most. So hey, maybe I'll give it a try.
Let's stick with IMX and let's take a look at Metalcore this time around. This is an open world, first person shooter style game, a little bit more of a space theme to it.
Yeah, maybe this is the Halo here. Maybe this is the real Halo, right?
Maybe. This one, it has much more of a mech feel to it, right? Like you're going to be, you know, in these big vehicles doing combat like that. For me personally, I prefer having my character, my soldier out and doing the fighting. With that being said, that's just me personally. I think the game actually has some really solid gameplay. It does have those solo character elements as well. The graphics are on point, the combat seems really fun, and it's, you know, I mean, it's a pretty successful one in Web3. What are your thoughts, being a space theme type thing?
I like it. I can dig some ship. It looks like there's quite a lot of vehicles, obviously, like the mechs, but you can also fly around. There's also ground combat, so they have a good diversity there. This is one of like the more polished titles on IMX. And, you know, again, being not like a massive shooter fan, I don't think it'd be my first choice necessarily, but that's no hate on the game. It looks really clean from the gameplay, the trailers. People seem to like it on the reviews that I watched in preparation for this video as well. So I don't have a lot more to add to it, but they did a nice job kind of giving some diversity in terms of what you can do in the shooter, in the genre as well.
Why don't we move on over to Beam? We got one game to feature here on Beam.
Yes,
and
this is your expertise, right?
You're
familiar with Rumble Arcade, right?
Rumble Arcade. You just gave it away, Ash. You just gave it away.
I'm so sorry. We have 1 minute in the future.
I know. Rumble Arcade. The story about Rumble Arcade, because in the green room, I've worked with Rumble Arcade. I've worked with the developers, and I initially heard about this game from one of my colleagues saying how this was the best game. I looked at it and I said, that game does not look good. It looks like trash.
Not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
Like, not to cut in, but to cut in, because that's what I do. In preparation for this video, I saw Rumble Arcade just like you. I'm like, dude, this game looks meh. And then and before the video, you're like, yeah, I got Rumble Arcade. I have a lot to say about this game. So I'm like, what is he gonna say about this game? So the mic is yours. The fourth wall has been torn down here. Why do you like Rumble Arcade? I'm assuming you like it.
I love the game. I initially played it because I did not believe that it was good. Because when you look at it, you have a bunch of hexagons, and they're kind of bouncing all over each other and shooting stuff everywhere. Indeed. So I gave it a shot. Essentially, inside of the game, you're collecting these different characters. All of them have different abilities. They are in shapes of octagons that can bounce off of each other. It's part of the game mechanic.
It's like Pong, but octagon.
Yeah, like Killer Pong, right?
Yeah.
But it has an addictability to it, just like Clash Royale. And when I was working with Rumble Arcade, I was like, you know, this is a game I could see us giving this to a whole bunch of content creators that have this Clash Royale audience, vertical style game. You could play it on mobile, although it doesn't have a mobile app. It's actually a PC browser game. I think it's also on Telegram now too. But it's it's just so addicting. It's got leaderboards. It's competitive. As you win, you unlock new characters. You could level them up. Very similar to what you know and what I know from a Clash Royale style game. It doesn't look good, but I would almost guarantee, Ash, that if you spent 15, 20 minutes playing the game, you'd find yourself logging back in to continue playing, which is exactly what happened to me.
Take the challenge, bro. Easy enough being on mobile too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I had to stop playing because it was just taking up my time, and I wasn't putting too many videos out on it, so I'm like, I gotta stop because I don't have time to play this. I gotta do other things. But the game is, it's simplistic to get into, but it's hard to master. So it's one of those types of things. Super fun.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. That's what they taught me about skiing back in the day. You know, I said it's simplistic to get into, hard to master. Snowboarding, difficult to get into, a little bit easier to master. I don't know if that's real, but that's what my my instructor told me. And honestly, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, right? Like I talked a little smack about Rumble Arcade just on the first impression, but like there's been many games, you know, that don't present like, oh, stunning 3D immersive world that I've absolutely loved. So again, I'll give it a fair shot for sure.
This next one,
speaking of weird games,
everything doesn't have to be a AAA style game for it to be good.
Yeah, this one is interesting. I'm not going to ruin it though. I don't want to steal that. You announce it. You announce it.
We're going to move over to Super, okay? And we're going to take a look at Impostors, which is a deduction style game, kind of like Among Us.
Among Us, yeah.
No, for me, this is not a game that I would want to play. It's probably one that I would not look at. I didn't even get into Among Us when that came out. I wasn't into that like party style, game, although I was definitely in the minority with that. But this is a very similar style game, if you ask me. So I don't have much to say. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, so this is Ilio-backed game because he's so heavily involved with Super. I know he's heavily involved with his game as well, so it has a pretty vibrant community behind it. It's unclear to me. I did a lot of research on this one, and it's like they seem to be updating almost mini games. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm not sure. It's been around for a few years now, you know, Impostors, and it seems like they're still active. There's still a vibrant community, but it seems like also there's more to the story here. So would love to maybe do a dedicated video on this game at some point. But either way, at face value, it had a lot of hype around it initially, you know. Elio being like a big part of it was obviously a huge part of that. But then in addition, I mean, it's like Among Us, they've made big improvements over the last few years to the graphics. And a lot of people are actually saying on early reviews, they like it better than Among Us. So definitely that social kind of who's who, guess some fun, aspect to the genre definitely translates well to Impostors. Has a good name for it as well. So I would say if you're into Among Us, want to try that sort of a game in Web3 with play to earn potential, this might be the way to go, especially if you're invested in or involved in Super, which is definitely an emerging, community.
Yeah, and anything that Elio is going to be part of, you know, he's going to bring a lot of hype to it, right? If he's involved in the game, he has a community. There's going to be players. He's going to have the players, right? So that's a big part of it as well. Let's move over to Ronin and take a look at Apeiron right here. This is a God-style game, roguelike action RPG.
This is interesting. Yeah.
It reminds me of a Torchlight, the way that it looks graphically. Very colorful, cool-looking game. This should be something that I like, but it's definitely different. The way that it has these card attacks is unique with the gameplay, and I always do like when new types of combat are introduced. I also understand that it's a new learning curve for players that aren't used to something like that, so adoption can be difficult. The game does look fun, though. I like how it has a comic element to it. Like, it looks like a comic book, but the gameplay is like an action RPG with an attack style that's brand new.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, man. You nailed it. I love the whole theme around this. I don't know what it says about me, man, but like the idea that you're a god and you're creating civilizations as the ultimate overseer of everything. I think that it's very intriguing. It's very interesting. I used to play this game like a million years ago. I think it was called Populous. You ever heard of that game?
Heard of it. Haven't played it.
Okay, I think if I remember correctly, it's like you're a god and you're making a universe as well, and people are happy and unhappy, whatever. This takes that way to the next level, right? The RPG, gameplay rather, and then the whole aesthetics are quite different, obviously as well. But I find it very intriguing, and at the same time, too complex to jump into right now for my lifestyle. But if you have some time, this might be a really cool game to learn. To your point, the learning curve does look a little bit higher than some of the other titles that we've spoken about. But again, on this one, it might be the newest out of all the titles that we have on the list today. They just dropped the some of the first impressions and an actual gameplay a month or two ago. So check out. We'll probably link maybe one of those big reviews of the game if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about it. But if that sort of like motif fits your game style, hell, it might be a great choice for you.
We have our last one right here on Ronin, and it's called Wild Forest. My initial look, I looked at the gameplay. I'm like, oh, this looks like a tower defense style game. But yeah, but it's not. To me, just like the graphic look of it.
I got you.
But it's a real-time strategy game focused on PvP, and what I like here is that it's quick matches, so 5-minute matches, which lends itself to casual style gameplay, which is, in my opinion, something that's solid. I think people really like being able to get in and out of something, specifically maybe older gamers like ourselves that don't have 2-3 hours to sit down and play a game at a time. But overall, this one definitely looks like it has those strategy elements to it and is gonna be a fun experience. It does look like a mobile gaming experience to me, or maybe a browser experience.
This is a grinder, man. It's a grinder. Watched a lot of videos. A lot of people are hardcore on this game. And sometimes it burns people out too. It's been around for a few years as well. They do have pretty robust play to earn mechanics. So I know that like people are actually earning a little bit off this game, but it takes a lot of time to do so. So if that fits what you're looking for, or if just want to have the RTS experience in the space, this seems to be one of the more polished and well-developed community options out there for you guys. So I would definitely check it out, see what you feel. The good thing that Echo mentioned is it's not going to take a ton of your time. You're going to pick up this game and get a sense pretty early on if it's your style or not, and then you can decide if you want to enter into the grind. They have like the card collecting dynamic to it as well, the kind of deck building type thing going on. So it's almost like a blend in a way of RTS as well as kind of deck construction type content with the short battles. It's very unique. Has a pretty unique aesthetic about it too. But overall, would you play this one, man? Like, would you be into this one? No. Are you an RTS fan or no?
I like the idea of RTS. I usually don't have the time for RTS, which is why I do like the whole 5-minute segment. Would I try it out? Sure. If I liked it, would I try it out a little bit more? Yeah, but it's probably not one that I would dive into and like fall in love with. But again,
have you ever gotten into an RTS ever in your whole life? Any game? Like really into it?
No.
Okay. I have. Age of Mythology, bro. Have you heard of it? It's like a spin-off of Age of Empires.
Well, I was gonna say I've heard of Age of Empire. I mean, I played
so good, bro. So good.
You like that stuff.
I digress.
No, that's fine. That's good.
It was my fave, man. My fave back in the day.
I mean, I did get into like Rise of Kingdoms. That's probably about as close as I could get to that type of thing.
Yeah.
Played that
kinda,
for
different.
But yeah, we got one more left and a couple of honorable mentions we can go through really quickly.
Should we do the honorables first before the big reveal?
Sure.
Click off, you know.
I guess we can. Let's go into that. Yeah, let's. So we have going on over to Gala, which was actually interesting that that was there in the first place. We have The Walking Dead Empires, which is an MMORPG. Again, looks like a mobile experience. I actually really like it, although the graphics are pretty simplistic inside of this one. I like The Walking Dead. I like zombies and stuff, not like a huge, crazy fan or anything. But I think the gameplay here looks cool. It looks like like an $8 Steam game that you buy, or some type of a mobile rendition, but it does look fun. What are your thoughts?
I hate it, bro.
No, really?
I hate it. I hate it because I watched a lot of reviews on this bad boy, and like people were like, yeah, okay, it's all right, but I feel like they kind of use the Walking Dead IP to bring players in. And here's the problem. It looks clean. I'm sure the developers actually know what they're doing. Like it's a decent looking game, right? It's not like total trash, like E.T. and Atari in 1981 or something. But it is, I saw some reviews. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome until you need to kill a zombie, and the only way to do it is with a $300 gun that you have to buy the NFT for, right? So, like, well, I don't want to talk, you know, I don't want to talk out of turn, but I hear that it has a pretty awful reputation of being like really expensive to play without a huge player base. That's based on the you know, the limited research I did. So if you guys feel differently, let me know about it.
All right, let's move on to our next one, which is also from Gala. It's called Spider Tanks. This is a PvP style game. Now, I'm not a big tank battler guy, but this isn't your typical one. You literally have, they're like spiders walking around. It's not slow-paced combat. It seems cool and fun and quick. That's all I got to say about it. I think this one looks fun.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, man. I used to, like, you're going to tell how old I am after this video, bro, but, like, it kind of gives me a little bit of, even though you're, I don't know, kind of a MOBA mixed with, like, a co-op experience, like, kind of like, you ever played Jackal back in the day? No?
I never played Jackal.
Right, sorry, man. I'm old, but so are you, so whatever.
Yeah, I'm older. How about this one? I got another, I have a lot of honorable mentions, actually, so a lot of value here. This one I think you're going to like. It's called Champions Arena. It's a turn-based strategy style game. And I mean, you have a Raid Shadow Legends channel, man, so you love the genre. What do you think of this?
I do, man. I mean, like, I am totally open to it. I didn't do as much research on the honorable mentions, just to be totally fair. But hey, this has all the touch and mechanics like a sucker like me could get his teeth, sink his teeth into. So hell yeah, man. Champions Arena looks very raidy, very Summoner's Worry, very, if you like those hero collector gotcha category, this might be the game to check out. Just, you know, protect your wallet.
Yep, of course. And we have one more honorable mention before we get to our top one. This one is from Prime, and the game is called Parallel. It's a science fiction card game, which so I look at this and I say I have no interest in playing it.
Yeah, you hate card games. Echo hates card games, for those of you who don't know.
I hate playing card games. I love the idea of them. But this one just doesn't have anything in it for me.
First of all, I saw like a pretty good review on this game. You know, I saw a couple good reviews, frankly. I think I mentioned this in one of our previous videos, man, but like for me to get into a card game like this and understand all the dynamics of all the mechanics and all the cards and all the meta and all the strategy, and then with the pay component as well, like it's got to absolutely blow me away to invest the time, you know, and this does not blow me away. So, I mean, hey, we might be wrong on that. Again, as with all of these, let us know if you're a player of any of these games. Tell us why we're wrong, and we'll check them out. You know, we're happy to be wrong on these, but it doesn't really appeal to me either.
I agree. All right, now that the honorable mentions are out of the way, let's actually go back to our final from the main list. Also on Gala, we're talking about Superior, which is a co-op roguelike third-person shooter. Now, I do love third-person shooters where you're basically hunting down mutilated superheroes, which is definitely a little twist on how things look. But
you kill the superheroes. They've gone wrong. They've gone rogue. Yeah, no pun intended.
Now, with that whole description I just gave, I have something different in my mind than what I see when I play the game, which seems like a lot more of a cartoony style, a little bit more simplistic style gameplay. But it does look really fun, and I like that they have that store and that little lore and that little story behind what the gameplay is actually going to look like and what the game is about. It looks like it's a lot of fun, and like I said, I personally do like third person.
I forget which one it was. What was the other one that was? It was Shatterline. It would be like, would you rather play this one, Superior, or Shatterline? I kind of might go, I might go with this one. I might go with this one, though, because to your point, the storyline is a lot more compelling. I like the idea of, I'm a grinder, you know, in any damn game, you know, like if I'm going to invest my time and I actually like the game, I don't mind a little bit of a grind. So roguelike definitely appeals to me, especially in this genre. It's definitely intriguing to me. It's pretty cool, man. It looks pretty cool. It
does look cool, but I would not go with that over Shatterline. I also have
you're
experience.
A Shatterline guy.
I like Shatterline. I think that the game is really actually incredible. And Superior, not that I dislike it in any way, but it definitely seems like more like a mobile game that I'd be playing, which is just a different type of a game than
that level of polish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Either way.
Well, there it is, man. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I was just gonna say either way, it still looks like a really good game. It's just very different than that.
Okay, well, hey guys, let us know which of the games are you most excited about, which are you least excited about. The cool news is you can check them all out because we have every download link. This is not a sponsored video, by the way, but every download link will be in the description below for your convenience. iOS, PC, Android, whatever, everywhere they're available. Any final words, Echo? But overall, I think that we did Alex Becker a little bit of justice here, talking about some of our favorite games or top choices on each of these crypto projects.
No, I think that we did. I like that we could take the tokens that he has belief in, and we could figure out some of the nice gaming projects that'll complement that token. I guess I have a question for you, Ash. Which is the one game that you would consider playing out of this list?
The one game.
Yeah.
Dude, I am such a damn sucker. I'm gonna go on the honorable mention. I think I'm like, you know what? Champions Arena looks gotcha, and I like gotcha. But nah, I want to pick one. I'm actually gonna go with Blade of God. Blade of God, that's the one. The third one that we mentioned, the dark fantasy RPG, action RPG vibes, that's going to be my choice. What about you?
That was my choice as well. Now, I already know that I love Rumble Arcade, so I know what we got there. I know that I love Shatterline, but Blade of God is one that really would make me say, I want to download that and play that one.
So our top Echo Ash recommended stamp of approval is going to be Blade of God. If you guys know any Blade of God influencers that you'd like to maybe have a little collab with us talking about the game in the future, let us know in the comments below. Again, check out all the game downloads in the comments below as well. And if you'd like to see a future Alex Becker recommended coins games recommendation video, that's a mouthful, bro. If you'd like to see another one, there's a lot of games on all these platforms. We could do a follow-up. Let us know. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you all. And as always, take care, guys.